Hey to all my gardeners and treeple out there, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete, just come back from nature, from the forest, where I did a 30-mile backpacking trip over the course of 3 days in northern Arizona with my friends Nicole, Hannah, and Derek. Of course, High Carb Hannah, Blue Sky Yoga Girl, and DIY Homestead Projects. And the reason why I'm telling you guys where I just was because one of the most important teachers that teaches me gardening is Mother Earth, is nature. Going backpacking, going hiking, getting out in nature is one of the most important things I can do to learn how nature gardens, and nature is the best gardener. So today we're going to open up the September seed bank box from seedbankbox.com, and hopefully we can take the seeds that are new to this box, we can plant them in our garden and grow the best fall garden of all time. Here is September's seed bank box. Let's open it up right now together, see what new surprise seed varieties are inside. Then we're gonna go in the front yard raised bed garden. We're gonna plant them together. And of course, if you guys subscribe to my channel here, or if you guys join seedbankbox.com, you can garden with me and see updates along the way at what the new seeds are, plus how the seeds are growing from previous months. Before we open up the seed bank box, I want to always encourage you guys to keep the seed bank box to store your seeds in a very organized way. So if you flip the box this way, this side is blank right here, so you guys can write September on the box and you'll know which box was which month. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you already participating in our garden program through Seed Bank Box. And you guys always tell me on social media at the Urban Gardening Facebook page, as well as my Jake Mace Tai Chi Instagram, how much you guys love getting your surprise box of seeds every month. And a lot of you guys, like High Carb Hannah and Derek from DIY Homestead Projects, they're planting all the seeds from Seed Bank Box in their gardens. When we were hiking and backpacking together, Hannah was telling me about how all the squash and melons and herbs and leafy greens and tomatoes and everything, how they're growing in her garden. It was great to hear her feedback because she's one of the initial seedbankbox.com members. It's garden time, let's dig in. We're gonna open up the compost paper. I call it compost paper because it's brown and it's just tissue paper that I throw inside my compost bin. I have a Joraform compost tumbler. I just compost the tissue paper. As usual, when you guys first open up the seed bank box, what you see on top is a message from Jake of the month. Oh my God, my koi fish are being so noisy behind me. You guys might see them swimming around behind me. I'm standing here in my tropical section of my urban food forest near the koi pond. But there's a message from Jake every single month so you guys can get inspired and motivated to garden with me, because I find that most gardeners give up the hobby of gardening and growing food at home because they just get tired and they lose the consistency. So read the message of the month first and try to let it inspire and motivate you. And this one says, gardening is a metaphor for life. It is not necessary to get an A+ in gardening every day. It is not necessary to be the best gardener in the world. It is necessary to be consistent. Remember that doing something is always better than doing nothing. Make sure your shadow is constantly on your garden this month. You don't need to be the best, but you do need to show up consistently and put the work in. A little garden TLC, tender loving care, every day goes a long way. So even though I wrote that, reading that to you guys motivates me right now and inspires me to plant the seeds in this box. And right off the bat, my favorite cucumber in the world that I always grow as a fall crop here in my garden in the Phoenix area is lemon cucumbers. So we had the lemon cucumbers here. I found out about this cucumber through my friend John Kohler, and the seeds are inside there. We're gonna take these out front and plant them. They look like lemons, but they taste like cucumbers. Next, I'm really excited to offer the edible flowers. These are the nasturtiums. These bright, fiery colored flowers grow on beautiful vines that can be grown as a ground cover or trained vertically up a trellis or fence. The showy blooms have a vibrant, peppery flavor and are fun to eat on their own or when tossed in a salad to surprise your next guest. While these plants are drought tolerant, they will require some afternoon shade in warmer climates. And if you guys don't know, the CEO of Seed Bank Box is Pamela. So if you guys can go in the comments below and thank Pamela for putting together the seed varieties, for putting together the Seed Bank Box. So she does a great job with the Seed Bank Box every month. And if you guys enjoy the seedbankbox.com program, it's because of Pamela. I just make the videos and plant the seeds, but she's really the driving force that runs this whole company. The next seed variety is beets. And beets are one of my favorite things to plant in my fall garden because they can overwinter here in Phoenix, and I'm eating beets all winter long, well into the spring. And this beet has a ruby red, smooth interior with a rich, buttery texture. So the rest of the card has directions and instructions on what it is, maybe where it came from, how to plant it, and even sometimes some ideas of how to cook with it. I have to be honest that to this day, I've been doing this food forest for almost a decade so far here in the Phoenix area. I've never grown asparagus, and my neighbor Jack with Epic Yard Farm, she always grows asparagus, and I'm always very jealous of her asparagus plants that are years and years old. So we're going to include asparagus in this month's seed bank box so that you guys and me together, we can all grow asparagus and share our experiences as the months go on. This heirloom variety of Mary Washington asparagus is one of the oldest and most popular varieties grown in the United States. If you guys have not yet signed up for seedbankbox.com, then you don't have the asparagus. Don't worry, October's seed bank box has yet to go out. Go to seedbankbox.com and sign up for October right now. You don't want to miss what amazing seeds are going to come out in October's box. I'm really excited to have this Mary Washington asparagus. It's all in the pack right here. I'm gonna put it in my garden in front of you guys in a few minutes. The next seed variety is the Atomic Red Carrot. You guys are so used to carrots being orange, but the Atomic Red Carrot has a bold red color thanks to its high levels of lycopene, an antioxidant not typically associated with carrots. This is a really special carrot, and I hope you guys all enjoy growing this one. And carrots, again, are one of those crops in the Phoenix area that can overwinter. So I always plant carrots in the fall, and then they grow all winter and fall long. The next seed is an herb called sweet marjoram. And sweet marjoram is a delicate herb with the gray-green leaves that taste and have an aroma similar to oregano. Marjoram originates from the Mediterranean and prefers the lightly dry climate, making it an ideal herb to grow in your summer garden. So we're gonna try to get one last crop in the fall garden with the sweet marjoram because we're in a very hot climate and dry climate here in the Phoenix area. For those of you guys who are not in the Phoenix area, you can save the marjoram for next summer's season. Save it in your seed bank box. That way everybody from every climate can grow together here, and just save your seeds until the weather is appropriate in your area. The next seed variety is a pea called an alderman pea. The alderman pea, also known as the tall telephone pea, is an old heirloom English variety that has been grown in home gardens for 150 years. I'm really excited to grow the peas. I love growing peas, especially because they taste so good and they're full of protein. And as a vegan, I'm in my 17th year of being vegan now. I'm always looking for those protein-rich foods that are vegetable-based, like peas. And the last seed variety in the seed bank box for September is very special because it's being grown here at my garden. It's from my garden. Christmas lima beans. I first grew these years ago. They put off a hardy vine that grows vigorously and very tall. So give it a trellis to climb. And then the lima beans put off these incredible purple speckled lima beans that really add some color to your life, and they're great cooked. And they're incredible for kids because they're very colorful and fancy schmancy. And what it says on the card is this heirloom variety of lima bean dates back to the mid-1800s and is an ideal variety to grow in the desert. The vining plants will produce heavy yields even in extreme heat. These large tasty beans are mostly white with splotches of maroon, making them a visually interesting addition to soups and salads. Guys, I love this Christmas lima bean. I've been growing it with my grapevine. They kind of grow together as companion plants. If you guys are right now watching this video on my Facebook group at Urban Gardening in Arizona, you guys just get the opening of the seed bank box. I'm going to upload it as a part 1 to the Urban Gardening in Arizona Facebook group. If you guys are watching it on my Vegan Athlete YouTube, you're gonna get part 1 and part 2 together. This is the opening. Let's now transition to the front yard garden that got overgrown with grass this summer. I just cleaned it out. We're gonna do a little more cleaning together. We're going to refresh the raised beds with brand new soil. I'll show you guys the soil that I use. Then we're gonna plant these seeds and water them and protect them from pests like birds and cats. So if you're on YouTube, let's go to part 2 right now. If you guys are on Facebook, thank you so much for joining my urban gardening group here on Facebook. I love the community efforts we all put forth, sharing our gardening experiences together here on the Facebook group. But you guys will get part 2 of the seed bank box opening and planting video coming up tomorrow or the next day. I'll see you guys then. Let's go over into the garden right now. All right guys, so I'm here in the front yard garden. We're gonna turn this bed for the seasons. I always change my raised beds every season. This was the summer bed. It was full of potatoes, it was full of grass, it was full of New Zealand spinach. I found a bunch of praying mantids living inside. I just cleaned out the bed and kind of took all the old roots out and found some extra potatoes in there left over from the last season. And now I'm gonna refresh the top of this raised bed with the Mace's Mix soil compost, worm castings, rock dust, and coconut coir. 3, 2, 1, Ah, it's all finished. And now I'm gonna do this with the other raised beds behind in the upcoming week to get my fall garden started. It was still 111 degrees yesterday here in the Phoenix area. 111 degrees yesterday in September, so we're still in summertime temperatures. But this raised bed's gonna have some of the seeds from the seed bank box, and I'm gonna also put some of the vining seeds on a trellis in a different part of the garden. So let's get started with the seed bank box and plant this raised bed out. I just wanted you guys to see that I do a lot of gardening. I've been gardening for almost a decade full time, and I still don't always have every one of my raised beds kicking butt all the time. I have over 20 or 30 raised beds here at our little garden, and so I don't have to have all 20 or 30 full of food constantly. I might have 15 to 20 full of food, and the other 10 to 15 are just kind of in transition, whether they're seeding, whether they're harvestable, whether they're just growing, whatever they're doing. So now I have this raised bed done, and the soil looks really amazing. It's a mixture of locally made compost that's super nutritious and alive, living compost, not the dust you get on store shelves at the big box stores. We've also got coconut husk, coconut pith, or coconut core. We've also got rock dust. We got the azomite that I got from jakemace.com, and we have a whole lot of worm castings. So this is a really good soil that's got a perfect balance of different nutrients and growing mediums, and we're gonna plant the seeds in it right now. Before I plant out the seeds in this raised bed, I'm gonna take my 1/4-inch polyline irrigation system that has a drip emitter every 6 inches that I got locally here from Sprinkler World. They had a much better price than the big box stores. Look for a local supplier of irrigation supplies. I'm gonna put this back in a concentric circle manner, which means just like circles that kind of come inside each other. And then I'm going to use that circle kind of like a blueprint or a map to plant my seeds. Here we go, irrigation system going in. 3, 2, 1. Ah, instant, just like that, instant irrigation. All right, it's 110 degrees outside today in September. I'm dying. But let me show you guys what this looks like close up and how far I space it apart. I have all of my raised bed gardens on one zone, and eventually, maybe someday, it will have a valve that will control each bed individually, but for now it's on one zone. It comes up this 5/8 inch poly line, and then this 1/4-inch line plugs into the poly line right there. You guys can see how it plugs in. And all the water runs from that 5/8 inch line to the 1/4-inch line, and then it runs around a circle and goes around, 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 around into the center. And then when it's on, through these little emitters that are inside the line, it just goes drip, drip, drip. I've never had these emitters have a problem. They've never clogged up, and they don't get sun damage because once the plants get big enough and lush enough, the leaves of the plants grow over the line and shade it. I initially turned this part of the driveway that was just a dirt, abandoned clay driveway into this system of 4 raised beds in the front yard here in the strip. And every year that I planted this raised bed, I've done it in a different way, trying experiments and different stuff. And the potatoes last year were a big success. Big success. So this year I'm going to take this 1/3 of the raised bed and do it as nasturtium flowers from the seed bank box. Take the middle portion, the middle third, and do it as the atomic red carrots. And then the back portion right here as the beets. And we're going to see if that works. Let's start with the nasturtiums. I think that nasturtiums always look like brains. So let's see if these ones do as well. Yep. They look like little walnuts or brains. Such an interesting looking seed. I know for a fact that these nasturtiums are going to sprawl out and become kind of bushy because I'm planting them in this raised bed in a flat environment instead of a trellising environment. So I'm gonna put them about 1 foot inside these 2 irrigation lines. I'm gonna put just 1, 2 right there. Maybe about 1 foot or so farther apart, I'm gonna put 1, 2 right there. I'm gonna keep going down the row about 1 foot apart each and put 2 seeds in each location. Looks like I have enough seeds to do a 3rd one, so just to make sure, I'm gonna put a 3rd seed in each location to make sure I have a good germination rate. And then as usual, my rule of thumb is to plant the seed the same depth as the size that it is. So since these are only that size, I put them that same depth underneath the soil. 1, 2, 3 right there, bury it a little bit. Then we're gonna do an overhead watering because the water is the catalyst that will start the germination process and grow these seeds. Once the seeds are about 4 to 6 inches tall above the ground, then I'll start letting the overhead water stop and the irrigation system take over. So you gotta nurture the seeds when you first plant them. Ooh, something's underneath the ground there. Digging in the ground, what is it? Oh, it's a little guy, a little beetle. Hello, little beetle. All right, next I've got the Ruby Queen beets. We're gonna look at these guys, and beets look very similar always to chard. So chard and beets are kind of in the same family, even though the beets make a more bulbous root and the chard makes more better leafy greens. They both have edible leafy greens, so I'm gonna be harvesting these beets for the beetroot, as well as the edible, delicious leafy greens for my salad or stir fry or juicing. I'm gonna take these beets and put them in the row kind of in the center third. So they're gonna kind of fill up the center here. And I know these guys are pretty prolific, so we're gonna put 3 seeds per location. And then I'll choose the weaker ones, weed them out or thin them out later, and keep the strongest one in its place. Let's put them in. Here we go. Here are 1, 2, 3 right there. We'll go about, I would say, 8 to 10 inches apart for the beets, because I know that these beets can get massive, but they also can be grown tight together. If there's a couple of them that are close together, they don't mind. They will still produce large, incredible beets. I'm sure somewhere out there are some beet experts like Dwight Schrute who have some more to add, but I've grown beets for about almost 8 years now, and I've always done pretty well with the beets, so they're one of my favorites to put in the garden. You can see all the beet seeds right here. They're kind of small, so just a little bit of a pat and then a little bit of a cover. Nothing too deep, just a little bit. Remember, you guys are not going to hurt your seeds by planting them too shallow, but you will suffocate them by putting them too deep. So don't go too deep, just enough to pat, 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 and then cover, 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 and you're done. Okay, lastly we have the atomic red carrot. And carrots are difficult to plant in my opinion, because here's what happens with carrots. The seeds are so small and they germinate so well. Let's try to one hand this guy. I'm gonna pour them in the palm here. Like I was saying, they're so small and they germinate so well that it's very easy to overseed your carrots. And then you have too many carrots, they're too close together, and it will restrict the size of the carrot root because they're too close. So always plant way less carrot seeds than you think. Trust me, you'll have a forest of carrots either way. So we're gonna just take these guys and very conservatively spread them just a little bit in this back third of the raised bed. I'm on the other side right now. So here we go. My method for planting the carrot seeds is just to kind of drop them in like an aerial attack, just a little bit here, and that's it. I don't plant too many. I learned the hard way. It's very easy to get a carrot forest that's way too dense to grow good carrots. My chickens, my tortoise, and a lot of the animals here, they love the carrot greens, and the carrot greens are actually edible for humans as well, but I'm mostly growing these guys just for the roots. So just a little bit of a spread like that. Now it's seeded, and I'm just gonna go pat, 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 kind of vigorously to kind of mess the soil up a little bit. And with a seed as small as a carrot, that to me is enough pat, pat, pat to nestle those seeds into the dirt. And now when I overhead water them in, they're all gonna hit that water, they're gonna find their little pocket, they're gonna grow their roots, and eventually, probably early spring, like around February, March, they're gonna grow me incredible carrots. I love carrots because they overwinter here in the Phoenix area. They're an easy crop to grow, and they're a lot of fun, especially for kids to go and pull that carrot out. So another thing that this raised bed has a problem with is neighborhood cats. My backyard raised beds don't have any cat problems. My backyard raised beds have bird problems. Front yard raised beds have no bird problems, but they have cat problems because there's a lot of cats in the neighborhood. So I'm gonna take these like $7 concrete form trellises I found in the lumber or concrete or sand section of the local hardware store, and they're about $7 or $8. They're 4 foot by 8 foot, and I'm gonna just lay them on top of the raised bed just like this. And what I find is that's enough in my area to kind of be a deterrent for the neighborhood cats not to dig or sit in my raised beds. You guys might have more aggressive cats than me. You might have to kind of up the ante a bit, but for me, this little trellis laying on top is enough to block the cats. All right, you guys, so I got the lemon cucumbers looking like lemons, tasting like cucumbers. These guys look like regular cucumber seeds or like cantaloupe seeds. Any kind of melon or cucumber looks very similar. Cantaloupe melon, rather. So these guys are gonna grow me some delicious cucumbers, and I'm hoping to get one really good crop before the freezing cold temperatures of like January come around. So I've got this raised bed here with this nice trellis going up it that I've grown Armenian cucumbers before, and we're going to just put a couple of cucumbers right here. Then I'm gonna go 2 feet apart because I have a surprise for you guys. We're gonna do 2 here, 2 feet apart. I'm gonna do a couple here, I'm gonna do a couple on the end. Normally I can put cucumbers a lot closer together than that, but once I push these guys down into the soil about that deep and cover them with, I don't know, maybe about a ½ an inch of soil, just enough to cover them up. In between, I'm going to put the Christmas lima beans, and I'm going to grow cucumbers and Christmas lima beans together in this spot. So these are the Christmas lima beans, and when my mom sees beans like this, she's the one who kind of taught me to garden originally, and she always goes, that's what I'm talking about. She loves the giant seeds like this. So we're going to put just 1, 2 Christmas lima beans right there, and these are equidistant in between the cucumber. So there's a cucumber seed cluster right here. 8 inches apart is the lima beans, 8 inches apart more cucumbers. That's what we're gonna do. I marked my spot. I'm gonna put 2 more of the lima bean, maybe 3 right there, just to make sure we get one that works really well. And then another cluster of 3 right there. Let's push them in. These can go in about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, so watch my depth here. They can go deeper, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, because they're much more hardy seed. 3/4 of an inch to an inch, push them down there. I'm gonna get the cucumbers going down there a little bit less, just barely, maybe ½ an inch or so under the soil. And now, just like you guys saw me in the front, I'm gonna water this strip right here, and I'll come back to you guys with updates as to how the garden's growing. So please subscribe to my Vegan Athlete channel here, because this is the part of the season where I prepare my army for the battle to come. If you guys want updates of how the seeds are growing and how the harvest happens, you gotta subscribe to my channel, or you can guys go on my Urban Gardening Arizona Facebook group, or you can go on jakemace.com, and you can also see more everyday posts about my life at Jake Mace Tai Chi on Instagram and Snapchat. Jake Mace Tai Chi. All right, you guys, I'm really excited about this month's seed bank box. I decided, since the temperature swelled this month in Phoenix area to over 110 degrees, I'm gonna wait a couple of weeks. The temperatures on the weather report say they're gonna drop into the mid to low 90s next week. So I'm gonna wait for the peas, which I'm really excited about. I love growing peas, till about a week or 2 from now. Timing's everything in gardening, guys, and it's okay. You don't have to plant exactly when I do. You can wait and feel out your microclimate in your area. But there's one more thing I wanna show you guys with the asparagus that I'm gonna do right now to ensure that I have a good germination rate with these seeds. So let's cut into the kitchen, and I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do to these seeds to make sure that they sprout really well and grow me asparagus in years to come. Hey, so back here in the kitchen, and asparagus are one of the different kinds of seeds that respond well to cold stratification. And so what you wanna do is kind of inoculate or shock the seeds with the freezer for a few weeks. So we're gonna take this packet of seeds, open the freezer, and wait for 3 weeks. And then come back and I'll plant them in front of you guys here at Vegan Athlete YouTube channel. Subscribe to Seed Bank Box. The October Seed Bank Box will be incredible, and you guys don't want to miss out. Hopefully I'll see you guys in person at a gardening workshop someday. If you see me at a vegan restaurant in town or at a nursery, come over and say hi, go vegan, grow your food at home, and I'll see you guys back here next time.